Hi friends, and welcome to this session on team formation. So team formation is a topic which comes in our LR section, right? We have already covered few sections in LR, namely seating arrangement. So we have covered linear and circular seating arrangements. Then we have covered the questions on ranking, and now I think this is the third topic which we are going to cover, right? This is again an important one, right? And you would find invariably one or two questions individually, or there can be few sets each year based on this topic. This again is like a puzzle thing, right? You have to look at the various statements and see how to decipher those statements and come at a conclusion, right? So questions are based on few conditions, right? Conditions can be something like this: if A is selected, B is not selected, or A and B are selected together, or there should be 5 female members in the team, and so on and so forth. We have seen one aspect of team selection, team formation, in our PNC chapter, where we were interested in the number of cases in a particular situation. But now in this chapter we are interested in particular cases. We want to know which team is formed based on various conditions, right? So this is perhaps like a Sudoku puzzle, because there are few conditions which would restrict an entry of a particular person in a team, or which would always assist an entry of a particular person in the team based on the conditions. So as it happens in Sudoku, there are few conditions that in each box there should be numbers from 1 to 9. Numbers cannot repeat in each column as well as row. Similarly, there are conditions for each puzzle here, and we have to decipher those conditions, right? As such, there is no theory. Whatever theory was there was basically in ranking and seating arrangement, but here it's more of a practice. So I've taken two caselets. Let's build on them and see what can we do about it. So the question says there are 5 men and 5 women. So 5 men A to E and 5 women U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So there are 5 men and 5 women. A team of 7 members has to be formed subject to following conditions. If A is there, B cannot be there. So there are to be 7 members. If A is there, B cannot be there, right? There has to be at least 3 members of each gender in a team. So this is an important, so we are looking for important statements. Every statement is important, but few statements would help us solve the questions really fast. So this statement says that there are at least 3 members of each gender. So it could be MMM, WWWW, or it could be other way. It could be WWWW and MMM. There is no other way out to form the team, right? Then it says D and E are always together. So D and E, if D and E are there, they are always together. X and Y are never together, right? If there is a 4-member team, if there is a 4 women in team, V is always there, which means if it is of the type WWWW MMM, then it would be V WW, so WWWW, then A cannot be there, which means it has to be BCDE, right? So if we take BC, then we have to take one of the D's and E's, right? But D and E has to be together, so DE should be there, and then there could be one of B and C. So when I put one of B and C together in a bracket, it means one of them should be there, right? So we know that the team is V, then 3 women, then DE has to be there, and one of B and C's are to be there. So from this statement, from 5th statement, we can eliminate that in this case A should not be there. There is no way out that A should be there. Now let's go to question. So it is known that there are 4 women in a team. So the question says the team is of type this, and X is always selected. How many possible teams are there? So X is always selected means VX, right? Then 2 W's. So X is selected, which means Y is never selected. So then there is VW X, there is has to be so Y is not selected, X is there, right? Which means 4 women, Z and W. These 4 women are there. Then there is D and E. Then there can be B. This is one team. The other team can be VX, Z, W, W, D, E and C. So how many teams are possible? There are 2 teams possible. So what each statement is telling us, it is helping us to come at a concrete solution, right? Now using the question statement, that if it is known that if there are 4 women in the team and X is always selected, we have reduced the possibilities to 2 only, right? Which initially were many. So if X is not always there, what are all possibilities were there? So there can be a possibility of, in place of X there is a Y as well. So 2 more possibilities would be there, right? Question 2 says, in addition to information in question 1, it is known that whenever X is selected, B is also selected. Find the composition. So whenever X is selected, B is also selected, which means only this is the possible solution and this is not. So the composition of the team would be VXZWDEB. It is known that when 4 men are selected in the team, Y is not there and Z is always there. How many such teams are possible? So Y is not there and Z is always there. So 4 men are selected, which means if we take one of D and E, we cannot take one of D and E, we have to take both of them. So D and E has to be there. Then 2 men can be from A, B, C, right? So 2 men have to be selected from A, B, C. Y is not there, right? And Z is always there. So Z is always there. And then there are 2 women, right? So this is the composition of the team. Now we have to decipher what all teams are possible. So one team which is possible is when A is there. So it would be DEA, right? Then one of B and C. When A is there, who is not there? We cannot be there, right? So there is Z. Then there is Y cannot be there. How many? V cannot be there again, right? So what women are left? V W, right? X, right? Y is not there, Z is already there. So W and X are left. So the team composition can be D, E, A, B, Z. So both W and X has to be taken, right? So this is one. The other could be D, E, A, C, W and X. So these are the 2 teams when A is selected. WXZ, sorry, right? So these are the 2 teams when A is selected. Now the other case could be when A is not selected. Then who are selected? Who all men are there? Then there are D, E, B, C. These men are there, right? And then there is Z as well, right? And we have option of 2 W's, 2 women, right? So the team composition is D, E, B, C, Z. Now there can be a V as well, right? And there can be a W. This is one composition. Then there is D, E, B, C. Let's take Z again. Z is always there. Let's take V again. So W, there can be an X, right? So this is with V. Then there is D, E, B, C, Z, W, x, right? So these three possibilities are there. So how many total possibilities are there? 1 2 3 4 5, right? This is not, this is a generic solution, so two of these and three of these, which means in total five possibilities are there to form team if these conditions are given, right? Mind you, we are not able to find the exact team composition in these questions because conditions are not given properly, or all the conditions are not given, right? So the question can be like this: which of the following teams are possible? Or if more conditions are given, they would boil down to one particular team, right? So in next question, this is a combination of what we have studied till now. So we have studied blood relationships, we have studied male female thing, we have studied the professions and all that stuff in past questions. So this is a potpourri of all this, where you have to solve the questions according to the situations given, right? So I'll read the question and I'll give you around 5 minutes to solve this so that we can discuss it later. Seven friends A B C D L M N are going on a trip on three bikes, alpha, beta and gamma. At least two are on each bike with exactly one male on each bike, right? So there are two persons on each bike at least, and there is exactly one male on each bike, right? There are two executives, two designers and three psychologists. So now the complication has been increased. We have also introduced the professions of each type, right? They sit according to the following conditions. C is a lady designer and she does not travel with a pair of sister A and M. B is a male executive and he travels only with Z on alpha, right? So this statement is important. D is a male designer. Persons belonging to same profession cannot sit on same bike. A is not an executive and travels on beta. So just look at these situations without looking at questions. Can you make a arrangement where we can find who all are riding which bikes and what are the professions? So I'll give you around 5 minutes to see whether you can solve this or not, and after 5 minutes we'll try and solve it together. So here it is. I hope that you are able to do it. Let's see how do we proceed. So now from the question it says at least two are on each bike, which means each bike has two and one bike has three, right? And exactly one male on each bike, so number of males are three, right? That is clear to us. So if there is one alpha, then this is beta, and then third is gamma, right? Each would have few people. So they, one bike would have three, other would have two, right? B, the other most important statement is B is a male executive and he travels only with Z on alpha, right? So B, who is a male executive, we can put an M for male, right? We can use this bracket for the profession, right? And he is an executive, right? He travels only with Z. Now another interesting statement which you should note is person belonging to same profession cannot be on the same bike, which means there are three psychologists and they have to be on different bikes. So P has to be a female first because there is only exactly one male, so Z is a female and she is a psychologist, right? So we are now pretty sure about bike alpha. A is not an executive and she travels on beta, so she can be male or female, it can be male or female, right? We also know that C is a lady designer and she does not travel with A or M, so C cannot be here, C has to be here, right? So C is a lady, which means a female, right? And she is a designer, she does not travel with A or M, which means M has to be here, right? That's the statements we are given. Can we find it further, or can we solve the question further, or are we missing some statements? I think we are missing few statements. Let me check the question again. So A and M are female, right? Because it's given they are pairs of sisters. So we were not missing any statement, but we were not reading statements correctly. So A and M are female, which means there has to be one male at least here. Who is left? A, B, C, D is left, and who else is left? There is L left again, right? So L and D are left. Are we given anything about these two? So we have not made use of the statement that D is a male designer. So designer, we already have C on gamma. A designer cannot be again on C, on gamma, right? So it has to be on beta. So he is a male and a designer, right? So this is it. What is left is L, which means L again has to be a male and his profession is what? His profession is a psychologist, right? Now A is not an executive, which means only person who can be executive is M and A has to be a psychologist. This way we have deciphered the entire problem, and whatever questions are asked, now we can easily solve these questions. Now let's see what are the questions which are asked here. Who travels with A? So who travels with A? M and D travels with A. Who are three psychologists? Who are three psychologists? They are Z, A and L, right? Z, L and A. On which bike does three people travel? It's beta, right? So the questions were easy. Deciphering the problem was slightly tough, but once you were able to plug in the clues of each of the statement, so we have to make use of each of the statements, though not in a sequential order, right? So we see that we have used statement 2 before statement 1. Similarly, we use statement 3 at last, right? So you have to see which statement to use before the another statement, so that things becomes easy, right? So basically the purpose of this topic was to introduce you to the questions which can be asked in an exam kind of scenario, and also how to approach them, right? The thing would mostly depend on your practice and nothing else. So you have to solve lots of questions. There are lots of questions. If you have some books like TMH or something like that, you can use that book to solve these questions, and I'm sure that there would be 1 or 2 questions or a set of 4 questions from this topic, right? So you have to do your hard work. I'll also post some questions on the entire LR, because LR is basically puzzle based. I think we are almost done with LR. Maybe there is one more video. I don't think that we require more videos as far as concepts are concerned, because it's basically practice. So I'll try and put 4 or 5 sets on LR, so that you can have a decent practice and you would get knack of solving the problems. I again suggest very strongly to use Sudoku, so that you can increase your speed and you can practice as well, right? So this is all about team formation. I hope that you enjoyed the video and you also learned few things about it. Thanks for watching this video, and all the best for your preparations.